Good morning to everybody. Welcome to the 18th lecture in Ancient Indian Literature, Science and Technologies lecture series. And this is the part 4 of the Vedic Physics or Ancient Indian Physics lecture series. I just want to sum up what was covered in the last lecture. Last lecture, as per Sankhya philosophy, creative process begins when Purusha joins Prakriti and becomes established in it, has been explained. And out of the process involving about 24 principles, but among them most important principles are Mahat, Buddhi, Ahankara and Manas. And this significance of these in the creative process has been touched upon. Also compared with a modern science, this significance. Then also discussed subatomic particles, a creation at Hiranyagarbha stage. Veda's quote on materialization on account of rise in heat is explained in detail. Then we dealt in detail on Rigveda quote, Ratam cha Satyam cha, and its significant or scientific interpretation also explained, and with its relevance to the modern science has been illustrated. And also touched upon Vedic concept of dharma and Vedic terminology of Satya, and explained it as a matter and its role in the process of a Srishti or the creation. Then lastly, scientific concept of word Maya is illustrated. A creation is not an illusion, it's a real. So we stopped at this stage. Now, in this current lecture, I am trying to touch upon what was explained earlier, the significance of Rat and Satya. We'll take it forward, a journey from Rat to Satya, that is, the journey from energy to matter, and also explain how this journey gets completed in 5 stages. Satya and its 3 formations, namely electron, proton and neutron, are also discussed, and interpretation of word Brahman, Brahma in Vedic physics context, and its role in creation is also explained. A scientific meaning of Chaturmukha Brahma is also explained with an example, and illustrated the word Brahma means an atom. In Vedic physics, there is another name connected with the Brahma, that is a Prajapati, that's the rishis, and Vedic term of each rishi and their equivalent to modern physics is also explained. Also illustrated the process how these equivalent in modern physics are arrived using the etymology, a process which was explained earlier. Then we touched upon antimatter in Vedic physics and explained its a correlation with the modern physics both, and then we are going to discuss on a birth of universe as described in Veda mantras, and then a correlation that with the modern science Big Bang theory. With this topic coverage, we'll end with a creation, that is the Srishti of this world, this universe. So let me explain these aspects of it with the slides, with the PPT presentation. So I request you to kindly watch these PPTs carefully and listen to my talk. Let us go through this journey from Rat to Satya, that is, from a transformation from energy to a matter. According to Vedic wisdom, the journey from Rat to Satya gets completed in a 5 stages. Each stage named Mahabhuta, which emerges from its quantum level. All of these Mahabhutas are causatives affecting Rat to be transferred into a Satya. At the end of the process, Rat itself gets stabilized in the form of Satya, which is known in to modern science as a matter. As we know, in a matter, a group of 3 particles, namely an electron, proton, and neutron, forming the basic structure of a atomic a constitution. Same way, Satya as a matter puts in its appearance based on group of 3 formations, namely atom, ion, and a molecule. Molecule is the final form. These 3 get together through bonds and produce a bigger molecule, which further develop tie-ups. Their combination in the form of compound, etc., and finally a forming the bulk of one or other a celestial bodies is a natural consequence of the dynamics of the creation. During the lifespan of the universe, such activity goes on non-stop at various levels. All over the universe, the creation of Satya or a matter continues to be affected through uniform 5-stage process. Now, let us look at another very significant terminology in Vedic science or Vedic physics, that is a Brahma. The beauty of Veda mantra is, as I told you, the same mantra can be interpreted in 3 ways. One is a spiritual aspect of it, that is Adhyatmika, Adidaivika, and Adibhautika. Now, whatever interpretation we are doing it here in physics domain is a Adibhautaka interpretation of it. So here, Brahman in Vedic physics is the atom of the modern science. Let us see how it is atom of the modern science. Noun Brahma is derived from the root of Bri, which means to grow. That is, grow, increase, expand, etc. Hence, the basic character of Brahma is to grow greater and greater, so that of an atom which puts in its appearance as a hydrogen unit grows to greater and greater and forms, as you see, in a periodical table. That is basic physics periodical table. I think most of you are conversant with that, and which was dealt at high school level itself. Then Brahma is said to be the creator of the universe, and so is an atom. Brahma is again said to have carried out such a creation out of its own body. This is fully true with regard to atom. Body structure of an atom consists of 3 subatomic particles, namely electron, proton, and neutron. They are in use everywhere. Only the first atom, that of hydrogen, has 2 of them, that is electron and proton. Now, we quite often hear Chaturmukha Brahma in a spiritual context, but in Vedic physics context, let us see what Chaturmukha Brahma implies. Chaturmukha, as you said, it has got 4 faces. In compound word of Chatur plus Mukha, term become the Mukha is derived from the root of Khan. Chaturmukha, you can see, then root of Khan. Meaning is, what is the meaning of Khan? That means dig, to tear. etc. The addition of mu is the beginning. The addition of mu is the beginning, and removal of ven from the root khan is done with the application of suffix da, the, which also disappears. This is using same as we are familiar with etymology process of deriving the meaning. Now, noun mukha, which means that which digs or tears. In a basic modern physics, we have studied that as the atom grows, increasing number of electrons in the orbit with inclusion of more protons and or neutrons in the nucleus seek accommodation in suborbitals which are not more than a 4. So electron orbiting these 4 suborbital do appear to be tearing the atomic space. So first part of the compound word chaturmukha is chatur, that is just 4. Hence atoms are chaturmukha. This finally established Vedic physics word a Brahma means atom. In Vedic physics there is another name connected to the Brahma, that is a Prajapatis. Now let us see how do you correlate ancient rishis to modern scientific terms. Let us consider names of Prajapatis connected to Brahma. We are all familiar with the Saptarishis, 7 rishis, and 8th is called Devarishi, that is the luminary rishis, and the last 2 happens to be the first predecessors of their respective successors. Vedic term, let's look at one side Vedic term and equivalent a modern physics. And Vedic term Marichi, equivalent of that is a photon. Then Vedic term Rishis Pulaha, then equivalent is neutron. Then is a Vasishta, that equivalent of that is electron. Next is Atri. Atri is equivalent to that is Mon. Then Pulasti, that is equivalent of that is a pion. Then Kratu, equivalent of that is proton. Then Angirasa, equivalent of that is neutron. Narada, equivalent of that is pion. Then Bhragu, that is equivalent of that is plasma. Daksha, equivalent of that is a deuteron. These are the 10 Prajapatis, 10 Rishis, and equivalent to that with a modern science, meaning is derived here. Now, how we have derived this? What is the process we followed? How to say this is the meaning of this? That is where you have to go to a basic process of etymology, which is explained in my first lecture itself. But I can't explain with time restriction. I can only take one example and explain how the meaning is derived here. Just to illustrate an example, let us take Marichi. Derived from the root mar. Meaning is die. So, Marichi is said to be the senior-most offspring of Brahma, that is the atom. The particle of light, which is a photon. A photon is a quantum of electromagnetic energy emitted by electron. Photon being the quantum of particles, that means it is a sort of a packet of energy or a light and is unable to carry any more or less. It dumps its entire content wherever it lands, and that is the end of its existence. It also being the first elementary particles and having a no mass. Veda has chosen the root mar to denote its characteristic behavior. So, using the similar etymology approach, all the Saptarishis equivalent of modern science are derived. So let us sum up what is Prajapati. The word praja means procreation, offspring, aftergrowth, etc. Term Prajapati as a whole means procreator. All of the 10 mentioned by Veda as a Prajapatis in the context are procreator of the matter in atomic or subsequent forms as we find in the universe. Ninth one is a Bhragu and tenth is a Daksha, are not mere single particles by themselves, but they are both creators of the respective processes of the creation. Now, let us look into the another aspect of in Vedic physics and its correlation in the modern physics. That's what we call as an antimatter. As you know, most important characteristic for antimatter particle is that any meeting between the matter and antimatter particles result in instantaneous total annihilation of the two, and their mass achieving 100% transformation into energy. Whenever and wherever a pair meets, its whole existence changes into energy. Only photon is the exception to this process, this annihilation. Even if poles reversed, photons survive. That is light energy. Photon itself is energy and that has no mass. Have you observed a light has got any mass? Have you felt any feeling of weight when light you encounter it? No. So that is what it is, a photon. So Vedic noun for antimatter is Kardama. A Sanskrit dictionary indicates that Kardama is Brahmanam Chayam Jataha. That is born from a reflection of Brahmas. Brahma is here an atom. So the origin from Chaya, that is the reflection, denotes a antimatter, a creation. Now let us look into the matter and antimatter. Veda pairs their matter as well as respect to antimatters. Let us see how it is. Matter is one side and then antimatter as a pair. Marichi, there is a photon, then antimatter is Sambhuti. Pula is a neutron and antimatter is Gati, that's a motion. Vasishta, electron and antimatter is Arundhati, positron. Then Atri, muon and antimatter is Anasuya. Then Pulasti, antimatter is Havirbuhu. Krutu, proton, antimatter is Kriya. Then Angirasa, neutron, antimatter is Shraddha. Here also, each one of equivalent and antimatter, antimatters have been derived. Same approach of using the theory of etymology. But just to illustrate that, here I am taking one particular example of a Maruchi and Sambhuti. Sambhuti is an abstract noun from through root bhu with addition of suffix ti. The term bhuti meaning is existence. Placement of prefix sam denotes their coming into the existence together. Hence, Sambhuti means coming into the existence together with its matter particle, a marichi. Oh, this is essentially in case of reflection. It can never occur all by itself. Now, let us come to the ultimate objective is the Srishti, that is a birth of universe. According to the Veda, creation and dissolution is an eternal cycle. It goes on infinite sequence with no beginning and no end. As we have seen earlier, a creation is a multiple manifestation of a Prakriti in a homogeneous, smooth, orderly organization called a universe, which, after its duration, whatever it may be, emerges itself into a Prakriti, which in turn remains a concert in its formless inert existence. There is no end to this state of existence. It remains ever. This cyclic system goes on in eternal motion, initiation of a new creation. So modern science holds the process of creation to have started with a big bang caused by an intensely blazing a primordial fireball blast at a temperature of beyond 1,000 billion Kelvin. Blast caused a radiation and other fireball fly around in the space. As we have seen in earlier lecture, Veda said same thing slightly in a different way, that all the earth and stars were formerly held by the Hiranyagarbha. Hiranyagarbha within itself, like a building material for the creation of the universe, held within the Hiranyagarbha. Now, in modern science, the general belief and theory was Big Bang, this universe created by the Big Bang, and that is in Sanskrit we say Mahaspota. There are many suktas in Rig Veda Mandala 10 gives a hidden knowledge of Mahaspota and associated nuclear power. It may not be possible to quote each of the suktas. I just quoted here a relevant references of the sukta numbers, and these are all one could refer it. Sukta RV Rigveda 10 Mandala 1:163-12 reveals that thermonuclear power employed by magnificent superfast radiation may well be obtained from the nearby, honoring men of science who may do it by allaying their mental prowess. Birthless, that is, energy leads to the nucleus form from the 4, but brilliant person will versed in the science of physics can follow the same method of approach from the 4, or they may also obtain through the reverse approach later. Here, in ancient Indian knowledge wisdom, they were more concerned about safety of this secret knowledge. So that is why they emphasize that a great knowledge expert, if he is approached, he can only reveal that how that can be controlled, how that can be applied, and how that can be technology can be used. So, as I had noted out in my earlier slides, the Big Bang Mahaspota I have quoted. There are many suktas in Rig Veda 10th Mandala gives the hidden knowledge of this Mahaspota and associated a nuclear power. In Rig Veda 10 Mandalas, there are 12 mantras or suktas which deals with this knowledge. Let me go through most of the important mantras and try to present the inner meaning of these suktas relevant to this science of creation. Rigveda 10 Mandalas Sukta 1 bar 163 gives a concise description what had happened after the Big Bang or Mahaspotas. This sukta is more important because Rishi or the seers of the sage sukta states in one of its mantra how Rishi could visualize that entire phenomena. These rishis are drashtaras. They could visualize in their deep samadhi meditative state like a modern scientist could visualize by the experiment in the laboratory. These suktas also reveal how a nuclear energy may be obtained. Sukta RV 1 bar 163 start with the Mahaspota already happened. That means after Big Bang, what happened it indicates. Sukta presents the description of the radiation that got released with the explosion, manner in which it spread across. Vedic terms are interpretable in a spiritual, intellectual, and physical scene. Here we are trying to interpret in a physical scene. Big Bang term of a modern physics is in the Sanskrit term equated as a vispota, that is explosion. In Sanskrit, root sput means to develop. Hence, its derivative spota means a developmental growth. The prefix vi would just reverse the sense of making it to denote a destruction by explosion. According to Veda, said event is not destruction of what exploded, but same blossomed to produce this universe. Let us take few of the important suktas to explain their inner meaning. Sukta RV 1 by 163 bar 1. The summary of that is, O radiation like galloping horse, being born the way you first rolled while appearing from the ocean of energy or debris of the previous creation, fast upon the wings of hawk and legs of a deer, this great performance of your deserve to be praised by the way of narration. Here, inner meaning implies that as a Mahad burst forth with a roar, that is bang, radiation appeared unbelievably fast from the ocean of energy is equally well described as a debris of a previous creation. This emerged energy waves was described like a wing motion of a hawk, a matter of waves described by way of a smile of a deer's run upon its leg. Next, same line, the sukta number 2, in the continuity of that, that describes, due to spota, radiation released in the space in the due course of the time deployed in the creative process. The radiated particles are already electrically charged. Then space reduced its high speed, went on cooling, it effecting the declaration which caused emergence of the denser and less denser locations. Its inner meaning is radiation that got released from the Mahad, spreading super fast a floating space and became deployable in a creative process. Particles radiating were already charged earlier, negatively or positively as per the case. A mention of matter waves in the previous mantra is clear pointer that radiation bursting forth was full of matter particles as well. This is stating two aspects of it. Matter particles charged and radiation floating in space started getting slower and denser. In other words, Veda conveys that intensely hot radiation went on losing temperature, its cooling down activated the process of a creation. Next sutta in the series says, as we have seen in the last sukta, commencement of a creation was explained, whereas this says that radiation addressed as a Avan was to transform itself into a body's grouped en masse like sun like stars and all other bodies floating or moving in space on account of invisible characteristics. During the course of a time, it has so divided itself on account of cooling effect within the three bounds of space which are said to be contained in it. Whereas modern physics states the details of what occurred immediately after the bang and soon thereafter when the matter created was at a particle stage. Last mantra narrates the particle radiation from Mahat, and further details are given in another sukta of RV 10 to 121. It further explains that it proceeded to divide itself slowly in denser sections of the substances that emerged a radiation and mass which was to get transformed into galaxies, full of stars and their planetary worlds. So the entire creation was to be confirmed within the three bounds of the space. The said bounds are length, breadth and altitude. And this inner meaning of the sukta, the last sukta in the series is RV 163/12, reveals that thermonuclear power employed by magnificent superfast radiation may well be obtained from the nearby honoring men of science who may do it by allaying their mental prowess. Birthless energy leads to the nucleus from the pore, but brilliant person well versed in the science of physics can follow the same method of approach from the fore, or they may also obtain it through a reverse approach later. After seeing this statement in Veda, one may wonder that West discovered the nuclear power after the Vedas had reached the West, and further they had been dissected by brilliant minds. Mode of approaching the nucleus from is the principal method in the process of creation employed in the universe, wherein each star is a virtual nuclear furnace. Reverse method of approaching from behind was first discovered and employed by Americans when they nuclear bombed Hiroshima and Nagasaki in Japan during the World War II. In scientific terms, the forward, that is forward, or reverse method are respectively known as a fusion and a fission methods. This is the last sukta which summarizes. This sukta is continuity of the earlier sukta dealing with a process of obtaining the thermonuclear power. Remarks that superbly well-wishing body of wise men should have a top-grade atomic plant as a protector, besides its full knowledge to provide time and again power for various utilities, travel facilities and other desirables or contingencies by seeking control over the capabilities inherent with the creative process. In this sukta, expression Devan Saste communicates that sense of disciplining the powers of atom. Most important is the Veda, while introducing the power that created the universe, further states that same may be harnessed for improving the standard of life, but warns that its source must be kept under the control of superbly well-wishing body of a wise man, or in earlier times the rishis or ancient scientists. Word Pitaram in the above mantra having been derived from the root of pa, to protect, has been translated as a protector. Then another word, sadhastham, a literally meaning associate placement, has been interpreted as a virtual stellar furnace on earth, which interpreted as an atomic reactor in the present scenario. Similarly, a mantram has been stated as a skill or a knowledge of a generation of the power or atomic power. With this ends my last series of talks on creation, Vedic knowledge, Vedic science of creation of this universe that is called Srishti. So I would like to acknowledge all those authors, scholars and scientists, because most of the material presented here are compiled from open source research data available in the literature, books and other media, with a due acknowledgement to the authors, scholars, researchers. Biggest contribution done in this domain is a noted Vedic scientist, Sri Keshavadeva Verma, and his research associates. I have used his quotes to share this ancient Indian knowledge. I am greatly indebted to them for made available such a rich ancient Indian knowledge to many researchers in this domain. Sole objective of this forum is to share, disseminate ancient Indian knowledge, wisdom. Hence, humbly submit that as a student of Vedic science, whatever I have grasped, understood, I try to share in this lecture series. If any omission or lapses are there, they are not in original authors or researchers whose works I have referred. Such lapses are only mine due to the element of ignorance. Thank you very much for watching this program. I once again thank you all for watching this lecture series. I have attempted briefly to cover the Vedic physics, from where Dr. Y.S. Gayatri has gave her brief introduction to the Vedic science and Vedic physics with 25 Sankhya elements and its relevance. From there, I took forward in a couple of 2-3 lectures, and by and large completed science, Vedic science revealing the creation. Of course, many of the intricate issues or subjects which are most important or very interesting, I could not present it, probably because of the time limitations. So I once again thank you all for watching this, and once again express my sense of gratitude and acknowledgement to all the authors and researchers and scholars whose works I have referred, and wherever required I have quoted in this presentation. So I must really be indebted to them and grateful to them. Probably in the next, if time permits, I would like to take 2 examples. We talk about this Vedic knowledge, heritage, so great, but what we have done in the modern times? How much has been re-engineered? These questions always remain with us. but I must appreciate few of the modern engineers by virtue of their passion to this ancient science. They have dedicated their life and re-engineered into some products. Of course, it is a long way to put those re-engineered product into the common man use, but still it's a great achievement which has been done. Probably I will take example of those great genius people and try to summarize what they have done in the next lecture. Thank you very much.